to episode number 8 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We are a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It's the week of August 13th. My name is Daryl, and today I'm again joined by Sergio.
Hello, everybody.
And Kevin.
What's good, everybody?
It is the year of 8, so this should be our best podcast ever.
Crazy Eights. Great card game.
Sounds great.
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh. Where's Tony the Tiger? Yo, that Frosted Flakes, though. I'm just saying.
Started out so well.
I know.
So before we really get started into the show, we do have a couple topics planned. But before we get started, I really want to give a shout out. I've seen a lot of people tagging us on Twitter and retweeting our posts and liking our posts and trying to spread the word about us. Definitely really want to say we appreciate you guys. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I think it's really cool. I want to say thanks for everybody who's written in suggestions on the music challenge. We've gotten some really, really good suggestions, including, even some like Word documents that have a bunch of links in them, which is fantastic. I've been really impressed with the music so far. Really excited about it. So please do keep sending those in. Again, this is just your favorite video game music that is going to come up in a podcast episode in the near future. Not exactly sure when yet, but we're gathering some more suggestions and such, and really happy with the way that's going. Really excited about that show. So please do keep sending those in. Also, before we get into the real meat, there was something really cool that happened this week. It's kind of a quick bit of news that really feels huge to me, like gigantic actually. And that is that Blizzard Entertainment, who's one of the most popular game developers in the world, announced its first title for a Nintendo platform in 15 years, right? And that would be Diablo 3 Eternal Collection for the Nintendo Switch.
Dun, dun, dun.
Releasing later this year, of all things. So, Diablo has not been a real big game series in my life personally, but it has been in my friends' lives and a lot of the people that I've known over the years. And I don't know, the people who are into this game in this game series, I want to say really like the game series, and it's huge to see Blizzard here. What do you guys think about this? What are your thoughts on the news?
I think it's huge. I think it is just one of the best things that could happen to the Nintendo platform, just because, like you, I don't have as much exposure with Diablo except Diablo 3 for a bit. But one of my closest friends loves Diablo. He would play Diablo 2 for the longest time. Even after 8 years, he would just still be, doing certain things to, just get the rarest items and all that, or bodying. It's just I'm like, man, that is insane, because he would talk about, he would have spreadsheets of he does. I'm like, wow, that is dedication. So, shout out to Tony. He's one of my closest friends, and he really loves Diablo. He'll keep up with it for the longest time. With that being said, yeah, I mean, who knows with Diablo? What if we get WoW? What if we get Overwatch? Holy shoot!
Hearthstone. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot here.
Oh my god! It's just the possibilities are endless, and with Blizzard to be on this level, to be able to work with Nintendo, I mean, that's just amazing. And I mean, just imagine how much. Gosh, it's pretty big. I don't know. What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, that's awesome. You always recognize those big names, those big third parties, and we have Dark Souls, we have Doom, now we have Diablo. There's always going to be naysayers, but I think this is proof definite that Nintendo has done it right with third parties, and where the Switch is getting all the games, literally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not overly hyped for the game itself. I'll probably give it a try. I don't know exactly what I'm looking at when I watch videos of it. It kind of looks like a modern Gauntlet, which is a really good thing to compare it to. Something like that, and you can play it anywhere. You can play it with people or solo. It's kind of a dungeon crawler. All these are good things. So the game sounds cool, but I kind of said, I don't really have any personal ties to the series, so I just look at that and go, oh, cool, okay. It is coming with some exclusive Ganondorf armor or something like that looks
Yeah.
kind of silly and awesome. But mostly I'm just it's like Sergio said, I'm just mostly happy to see the third parties coming. Like it was really good to see Bethesda hit the Switch in such a huge way. And I feel like Blizzard is just kind of the next domino there. I feel like that's a very big thing, and you guys touched on it. The possibilities that go from here are almost endless. I mean, at what point do we see Rockstar?
Exactly.
Like
Oh my
gosh,
gosh.
we're not that far away, right?
Right.
Oh
right.
man, like I can imagine like even bringing GTA 5 or even GTA 6 like later on. Like holy shoot, that
Or Red Dead Redemption, or
yes. Oh, by the way, Red Dead Redemption #1 was a really good game. I'm really curious about Red Dead Redemption 2, even though I haven't played on my PS4 in a long time. With that being said, man, it's incredible. I mean, just the confidence that certain companies have with Nintendo. I mean, last year and this year, like it's just really been, the golden age for Nintendo, like part 2. So I think it's gonna be great, and I mean, I'm sure my friend Tony would. I think he'll probably get a Switch for sure. When he hears about Diablo 3 coming for the Switch, because he was a bit on the fence with it too in terms of like playing Mario Tennis Aces, because he liked playing that too when I brought it over. So yeah, I mean this could be the one to bring more people to play on the Switch. So I mean every bit counts.
Oh, you make a good point. Some people might get it because of Diablo or Dark Souls, etc. And then, they'll see
Right.
the other games that are out there, and they'll try them out. They'll try tennis, they'll try Splatoon 2 or Mario Kart, and they might become fans of new Nintendo franchises, new to them.
Yeah, I mean it's a good gateway. I feel like it's like
Right.
a gateway process for these sort of games to come to the Switch, and I mean, it's a really good time to be a Nintendo Switch owner. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and if there was ever from what I know about Diablo, if there was ever a series that really showcased the Switch's ability and an advantage to play anywhere, man, that game is a huge selling point because people sink tons of hours into it, both in solo and in online play and such. And I don't know, it seems like a really good fit to me. It really does.
Yeah, I mean it does have quite a bit of an addiction in terms of the gameplay and the way you play it. Like whether you want to go for a speed run or you don't want to get hit. I mean things like that. So it's pretty versatile in that. And man, it's oh my goodness. Now I'm just waiting for Donut County, which I've mentioned in a previous episode, to come on the Switch. And a new F-Zero game. Anyway, so I know I digress, but no, this is really good for Nintendo, and man, what a great start to the week.
Yeah, it just kind of popped up. I appreciate that. After that, I mean, we actually do have an episode planned, right? So
we do.
For this week's episode, we basically simply have a bunch of reviews of games and accessories for the Nintendo Switch. We're trying to do something a little bit different than other shows do, so we don't really tend to have a weekly, quote unquote, what we're playing segment or anything like that. But we do want to have this type of episode from time to time, just so we can talk about games that we think are worthy, worth being highlighted, both games that disappointed us or games that, we really like and want to spread the word that, hey, this is great. So, we definitely want to have this from time to time, even if we're not bringing it up every show, because, frankly, I like to kind of dive into games and spend multiple weeks on them, so I don't really want to be looking for something new every week, but...
Right.
Yeah.
That's just how I play games.
No, I mean, and you're right. I mean, it's a good change up for us too. I mean, just given the format of the show, given the nature of how we talk about things, I think it's always good to, really dive into certain games and accessories where need be. So I'm all for it. Let's do it.
All right, let's dive in. So I think we each have a couple things to talk about. This week, let's start with Sergio. What you got, man?
Okay, so the biggest thing going on for me with the Switch right now, I actually imported the Taiko no Tatsujin game, which is from the drumming series by Namco. You guys have probably heard of it. Yeah, the latest game came out in Japan last month in July. and I did get the import. I imported the game and the drum set, and it came down to about 160, but that's with shipping. And that was
Okay.
back then on launch. So it might be a little bit cheaper now. But I just thought it's the drum. You gotta play with the drum. That's the definitive way to play that series, and it's working out so well. I've gotten more into it than I expected.
So what's the drum like? Is it just like a little controller plug-in, or is it how big is it? What does it look like?
Mm.
Right, it's pretty big. I'd say about a foot and a half, and
Oh,
Whoa.
okay.
That's
yeah.
that's a good size.
Oh yeah, it's definitely bigger than I thought it would be, and the bigger it is, the better, because you have more surface to hit the drum with, and it
Hmm.
comes with the two drumsticks, and it works really well. It's actually very very sturdy and very responsive. It has a little slot on the side where you can store the drumsticks, or this is actually the newest version of the drum set by Hori. You're able
Hmm.
to store two regular sized water bottles to sort of to weigh it down and keep it in place when you're playing. It works. It actually works really well.
That's so clever.
Right. No, but it definitely works. And you know what? That was actually part of the an initial issue that I had was setting up the drum in front of me like in the best possible way. And I ended up having to set it on two futons that I have like for storage.
Ooh.
And I have to get those two whenever I want to play. But now that I have it set up, it works really well. And like I said, it's very responsive. Once you figure out the right way to hit it and the right strength to use, it just works really well. Like you would think you would expect to have to hit it harder, but they refined it. I think some of the older drums you had to hit them a little bit harder. On this one, since it's the newest model, I think they refined it and it works really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Now, for the game itself, it has 74 songs built in.
Mm.
And there's some variety. There's pop, anime songs, there's a couple of game music. There's a Splatoon 2 medley, actually, which is really nice.
Ooh.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Pretty
and they
good.
have
Yeah.
a
I
Kirby
hadn't seen
one.
that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they also have Jump Superstar from Odyssey.
Oh, yo, that's okay.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm concerned this now. It's true. Whoa, that's a good one.
Yeah, they have a good amount of songs and a pretty good amount of variety too. There's a free DLC song at the moment, and there's also a single DLC pack, and I think there's gonna be more, but the one that is out right now is by Studio Ghibli, some of the songs from their movies. It's pretty nice. It came down
Wow. Okay.
to 540 yen, which is about $5.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously really great. I mean, you basically have like your own drum machine arcade at home. I mean, that's like eh, that is really fun to have, especially with a group of friends that you come over and everybody can take a turn or play together. I mean, that is a really really nice thing to have.
Yeah, like you said, the game is mostly in Japan. I think one of the PS2 versions made it over a long time ago, though. So most of the time, you're gonna see this game in arcades, and if anything, it's not very common even then.
Yeah, and it's huge. It's huge in Japanese arcades. Though,
Right.
like
For sure.
like
Yeah.
groups of people go and do like this roulette play thing where they're all jumping in. And if you've never watched a video of Taiko Drum Master in a Japanese arcade, it's really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that I wish more people would know, especially as gamers, because it is really a phenomenon, and being able to have that fun with other people in that roulette style, and it's a good exercise too. You get a good workout, I'm sure. I mean, I played with it a few times in arcades, and man, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And now that I'm getting into it, I'm realizing there's like an underground world of Taiko Drum Master players, and they
Yo.
they mod their controllers to give them a surface of a real Taiko drum, so that they can actually use real drumsticks and get all into it. It sounds crazy.
Oh wow, Sergio's joining a cult, everyone.
Yo, there we go. Yo.
So how painful was the import process? Because this is currently a Japanese only game. So how did you end up getting it?
So I ordered through PlayAsia, which is one of I would say it's the biggest import website from
Hmm.
Yeah.
from Japan. I
Yeah, it
think there
is.
was also JS Asia. I don't know if they're still around, but It's not too painful. You put in your address and you go through the payment. I guess the only issue is that shipping is a little bit high, but honestly, you get the game like in 3 days from FedEx, which is crazy.
Whoa, that's pretty fast,
That's
especially
amazing.
international. Yeah. What the...
Right.
Props to FedEx. And then in the game, I mean, I'm making a pretty heck of an assumption here that you don't speak Japanese. Is there enough English? Like, can you move around pretty easily?
Yeah, from the beginning you could figure things out, but luckily there's actually an English patch for the game. They patched it
Ooh.
Oh wow!
because it's actually been announced that it's going over to North America and Europe. However, North America is not getting the drum set.
What?
Really?
Right, and it's gonna be digital only in North America.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You can't do that.
So how do you play it if you don't have a drum set? Is it like a touchscreen game or is it with buttons? Like
Yes, pretty much everything. You can play with the touchscreen if you're playing in handheld mode, or you can play with the buttons, either the built-in Joy-Cons or a Pro controller. You can also play with the Joy-Cons via motion. And I tried it out. It
Oh, okay,
works,
yeah.
and it works better on the easier modes that have less notes going on, but it feels like for the harder songs or the harder difficulties, it's not really gonna work that well. It's responsive enough, but it's not quick enough, if that makes sense.
I feel like you'd really want that tactile sensation.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is a game about hitting a drum. Waving your hands in the air doesn't quite do it. You know?
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a good replacement. I mean, or a good alternative. You got to have the physical thing.
Right. And
Yeah.
Europe is actually getting everything. They're getting the physical copy and they are getting the drum set. I guess the only caveat is that the game going to Europe and North America is gonna have the same songs as in Japan. So the songs themselves are not getting localized. They're gonna stay in Japanese.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
You know what you're getting, right? We're not
Right.
in a Elite Beat Agents type thing, right?
Right, right.
It's you definitely know what you're buying with this, and the fact that it sounds like they have a pretty good variety of different sources of music and such.
Yes.
I don't know. It sounds pretty cool to me. Actually, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and because it has a lot of minigames actually. I want to say at least 15, and you can unlock harder difficulties of those. They're pretty fun, and they're for 1 to 4 players. So there's also that. You don't only get the regular drumming songs. I think this is the first version of the game that has these minigames, and they work pretty well.
So with the mini games, I'm sorry, you're telling me a lot of things I don't know about the game. With the mini games, do you like rotate on the drum, or not everybody's expected to have their own drum set, right?
No, right. You can. They make them so that you can play with buttons or with Joy-Cons or anything you have, any controllers that you have, even a single Joy-Con.
Oh, okay.
That's good. Yeah, keeps it versatile.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to more DLC, and the game is coming over, like I said, to Europe and North America. So we'll keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, definitely. You've raised my eyebrows on it a little bit. Plus, once it hits Europe in particular, it's actually a little cheaper to import things sometimes.
Right.
And a little bit easier, even through like Amazon UK and such can sometimes ship to the US for not that much money. I actually ended up getting
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Super Famicom Classic through the UK site. So, it's really not that bad. So that'd be something I would possibly look at too.
Just to touch on Amazon.uk, I really do like that Amazon for a particular reason. When the neon green and neon pink Joy-Cons were announced, I was always wondering, okay, well, when is the US gonna get it? Didn't get it for a long time, and so there was one point where Amazon.uk had, I don't know why I say that. Amazon UK, they had it. I was like, okay, but am I able to ship it to the US? And it turns out I can, and I got it within like a week. It was amazing. I'm like, all right, shout out to Amazon UK, the MVP. Anyway, I digress.
Cool.
Also, shout out to the Switch being one of the first region-free consoles in a very long time. Like,
there we go.
It makes this kind of thing really nice, right?
Yeah, yeah. When the Switch was announced, and the first couple of Japanese games were announced, Taiko Drum Master, Taiko no Tatsujin was there, and I was thinking, yep, I can finally in for this. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes. Very
So
good.
just one last note, I do want to mention that there are other drum sets, not by Hori, and I saw a couple of bad reviews, as expected, really, because Hori
Ooh.
Mm.
makes really good accessories. So just keep that in mind. I definitely recommend the Hori one. It works perfectly once you get used to it.
Yeah, that's not all that surprising. Hori is actually a very good accessory company.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of accessories, hey,
Ooh. Yo,
Kevin,
I'm
what do you
coming.
want to review?
Oh, I'm gonna tell what I'm about to tell you guys is a grip case that I've been using for let's say the past few months. It's been really good. I'm talking about the Skull and Co. Nintendo Switch grip case. It is, and keep in mind there are other grip cases out there on Amazon that you can get from different brands, different companies. But this one I think is the true example of what a grip case should be. I'm gonna be a shameless plug here, but anyway, so they had a Kickstarter, and then an
Oh,
Indiegogo campaign, and basically it was to market and to talk about how there's a problem that a lot of people have experienced when playing in handheld. So if you were having problems with cramping over long periods of sessions on the handheld mode, that is quite evident. A lot of people have been talking about that. With the grip case, that alleviates that problem pretty well. Personally, for me, usually don't cramp with my hands while I play in handheld, but I know a lot of people do. But with that being said, it is probably one of the most comfortable things to hold. One of the most comfortable things to hold. That includes like everything in the world. But no, I mean anyway, uh, anyway. So it's my point is that it's really comfortable. I actually gonna pick it up right now. You know, it's really sturdy, and I wish I could show a picture. I mean, it would be great, but with every grip case, it comes with two sets of grips. So grips being the bottom area of the Joy-Con that you hold. There comes with a snap grip, which is it extends that it elevates the height of how you hold the Joy-Con, and then there's the trigger, which gives you more of a nice grip for bigger hands. My hands are above average, I would say. I'd say that just because I was looking at the charts, like, oh, okay, my hands are above average, so I have above average size hands. Given the chart that Skull and Co. Depicted, and so I opted to use the trigger style, which feels really comfortable in the hands. The case is made out of a TPU material, and it's really soft. And it's really easy to slip on and slip out. And one of the best things about this grip case is that you can actually dock it without taking off the case. It's pretty awesome. Like,
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
any other grip case that does that.
right.
And yeah, it's just because for me before I would play a lot on tabletop. After work, stop by a local coffee shop, wait for traffic to die down, and then just play some Switch in tabletop mode with a stand and all that. But for me, with this grip case, my time with it is more handheld now.
Hmm.
So it really feels nice in the hand. Like I said, it's one of the most comfortable things in the world. And yeah, you can like it covers it pretty nicely. It doesn't detract from the experience of playing with the Nintendo Switch in the first place. It's just an extension for better gripping and more comfortability for the grip case. I'm sure I've showed you guys pictures before, and I tell you, it's a little pricey. It's a little pricey. The base model with one set of grips is $46 on Indiegogo, and then if you want to get another set of grips, it's $51 in USD. And so the grips, they come in different colors. You can get gray or neon blue, neon red, neon green, neon pink, Mario red, yellow, what have you. And you can actually get it on Amazon too for $50. Just if you don't want to wait that long from Kickstarter or
Right.
Indiegogo. So honestly, it's a little pricey, but I think it's worth every penny, especially when you play on the go. And you can dock it too. Like, holy shoot! Like, how cool is that? You know what I mean? Like, it really is. For me, like, I don't really get a lot of accessories like throughout my life in terms of like my gaming systems, but with the Switch, it was a no brainer. I'm like, wow, like yes, I am willing to pay a little more for something that's really good quality. So, I mean, I even encourage you guys to get it. It's especially when you play a lot of handheld. Now there is one caveat. Obviously you can't just take out the Joy-Con seamlessly with the grip case, but
That's true.
the fact is that you can take off the grip case easily, just really like within seconds, and then you can take out the Joy-Con. So that's the only caveat. Oh, and also you can't access the built-in stand, but it's a minor flaw. It's not a big deal. So yeah, just playing with it, even like pressing the Z buttons, the L and the R buttons, like yeah. So that's really it's amazing. Oh my goodness! I almost forgot. It comes with an incredible special carrying case that fits just for the grip case. It's amazing. Yeah, it's like you can even have your Switch stand within like the little ridges that
Right.
like it's built in with the stand. Built in with the case, and you can just play like that. And you can even fit in like different. I can fit in my AC adapter and another set of Joy-Cons, and then some. It's like amazing. Like I cannot begin to tell you how cool this grip case and carrying case is. Like I bring it everywhere. Well, okay, not at work right now, but I bring it. I'll keep it in my backpack. But yeah, I mean, I bring it. If I just going through traveling and stuff and being able to pull it out, like it's a really good accessory to have. It's my favorite Nintendo Switch accessory for sure.
Nice. I'm wondering, have you noticed if it affects the HD rumble at all? Like, does it make it less noticeable?
Honestly, I haven't noticed it that much. It's maybe a slight bit, but it's not where it deters from the experience. So,
Oh, cool.
honestly, it feels just right. I mean, I can still feel the rumble. I'm sure scientifically there is like a slight bit that you lose from using the case, but like it's not enough to detract from the experience. So
that almost might be a good thing with how vivid the rumble is on the
Right.
Joy-Cons from time to time.
Right.
that's true. Yeah. So it could be a positive too. So a little buffer doesn't hurt anybody. So Skull and Co. Shout out to Skull and Co. I'm advertising for your product. So I mean,
There you go.
yeah.
I also looked up on Amazon real quick while you were talking, and it looks like they currently have the grip case and the carry case for, like you said, like $49.99, $50.
Right.
The grip case alone, if you don't want the carry case for whatever reason, you're not going to use that. The grip case alone is like $20, which is really not that bad.
Oh,
Wow. Man, I did not know that. That's a great option. Seriously, like
Yeah, I'm seeing $23. That's really not terrible.
it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all, and you can dock with it too. I mean, that's
That's
a
awesome.
Really
Yeah.
nice. It's a really nice kicker because a lot of the other grip cases, it's a little bit bulky. I mean, yes, it provides durability and it's sturdy, but I mean,
At what cost?
yeah, right. I mean, gotta go with the winner. Gotta go with the winner.
Right.
Skull and Co. grip case. So
There we
yeah,
go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but this is just my opinion. Obviously, everybody's different. It's the biggest drawback is that it is a bit expensive. It is pricey, but honestly, for me, I think it's worth it, and yeah, it's worth having. So,
Nice.
yep.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, and I would like to mention one more accessory, if you guys don't mind. I'm sure, and I'll introduce it too. I'm sure we've had certain experiences with our friends who play with the single Joy-Con, like in single Joy-Con mode, and like whether it's Mario Kart or Pocket Rumble, and then you put on the strap, and yeah, it's okay. It's not the most comfortable, but it works. It's a viable option, but I'll tell you right now, there is a better option out there from Amazon, so shout out to Amazon. It's the Amazon Basics Grip Kit for Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers. It is basically, it's a nice grip case for a single Joy-Con. So it comes in two. I think it's $12 for a 2-pack. I might be mistaken, but yeah, $12 for a 2-pack. And it is like the most comfortable single Joy-Con grip case that you can have. Like pressing the L and R buttons are really nice. It feels sturdy. It's wonderful. Putting in the Joy-Con into the case, like it's so super easy. It takes like a second. And yeah, obviously it works for both left and right Joy-Cons. And I'm sure I showed you guys a picture of this. It's like it's a good size. Like even if you have above average size hands.
It just looks like it looks like handles for the single Joy-Cons, pretty much.
Yeah, it pretty much handles for a single Joy-Con, but it's just really, it's nice, and like I said, it feels sturdy. You know, when you play Pocket Rumble, it's, you know, your hands won't cramp, even in Mario Kart, like, because I've used different single Joy-Con grips before, and it just wasn't the most ideal. It's hard to press the L and R buttons. It wouldn't register all the time. You know, I would complain about it internally, and it just wasn't a good solution. But now you have a good solution in Amazon Basics. And actually, there was one time when I was looking at the prices, like I think the red ones or the yellow ones, there were $3. That's like incredible. I mean, it's totally worth it. It's a bit flashy, but it works. But yeah, I got the black. It's really nice, and it's just a really good way to play in single Joy-Con mode. So I highly recommend it. So, I mean, with the Skull & Co. grip case and the Amazon Basics single Joy-Con grip, you're good to go. You're good to go for any Switch party. And yeah, like I said before, I'm not always the biggest fan in terms of accessories, but since I got the Switch and got these, like, it's pretty dope. So holy shoot, I highly recommend it.
Nice.
No, that's cool. And just to be clear for anyone, these were not review copies or anything like that. We did buy these, and we're telling you because we like them.
That's right. I bought it with my hard-earned money, so it's totally worth it. And I think for any Switch fan or any Switch owner, it's good to have these sort of accessories.
Right.
You know, because having accessories like these, it only enhances the experience, and I think that is really important because, you know, it's a change up. It adds to the experience, and you know, you don't want cramped hands. Who wants to have their hands cramped? Not me. Not today. Never. So, you know, got to keep it real. Got to keep it 100%. And I say go for these. You know, it is a bit of money, but with what you get out of these accessories, it is totally worth it. So,
Awesome. Okay, I think I'll jump into my first game. So, join me, if you will, as we journey into the kingdom of Hallow Nest, where I'm going to talk about Hollow Knight, which was released back in June for the Nintendo Switch. Actually, it was kind of the surprise drop during E3, so
right.
just they had and it's available now, you know.
available now.
And it came out at $15. It was developed by the studio Team Cherry, which is a very small studio based out of Australia. And you know, I did some research on this game back when it was even announced for the system, and it's got amazing reviews basically from everyone, from critics, from people who are playing it. Everybody talks about it. Everybody loves the experience and everything. And yeah, it turns out it's pretty good. So what it is, it's a surprisingly large Metroidvania type game where you're playing this little character. My wife affectionately referred to him as an evil bunny. He's actually a bug, you know, a bug with like horns, and you live in this world with a bunch of other bugs that are. It's all hand drawn and it's stylized, and the characters are actually very interesting and detailed, and some of them are cute, some of them are terrifying, and you're basically exploring this world that you don't know. You don't even have a map of, you don't have anything. So you're exploring this world basically completely lost. So it's kind of the standard gameplay loop that you'll see in like a Metroid game or such, where you don't exactly know where you are or where you're going, but you're just exploring for the sake of exploring to see what you can find. And over the course of the game, you do meet this character that will give you maps of each area, but you do have to find him in each area before you get it. And you do get very specific upgrades, both to your weapon, which is basically just a sword, right? So it's a short range weapon, but also your mobility. So you do get, as you progress in the game, you do get more mobility options, such as double jumps and super dashes and things like that allow you to reach areas that you weren't able to before. So what it leads to is that you're kind of wandering around this map that you don't know anything about, and trying to find where you can go. So it very much feels like a Metroid game or one of the later Castlevania games in that term.
So
go ahead.
So how's the story? Like, what do you think about the lore? I mean, I played it a little bit, so I feel kind of bad for saying that, but I played it for about an hour or two, and I had a really good first impression. But coming from you, who's definitely played a lot longer than I have, like, what is your impression of the lore, the story of Hollow Knight?
So I think the world building is fantastic. Actually, I think it's really well done. In terms of I want to say it's almost kind of a gothic setting and story. Like, it's very much centered around darker tones, gray tones. The story is even a little heavy and dark, although not particularly scary or bad, just kind of a little heavy, and the commitment to that is actually really well done. Like, every character you meet feels like they kind of fit in that world, even from the more optimistic characters to the more pessimistic characters to this battle hardened veteran guy who will totally beat you up and take you out, even though he's completely bluffing. I think the characters are extremely well done. The lore is extremely well done. The world building is extremely well done, and actually the gameplay is very good. Like, my critical point on these games is basically how the game plays, how you move through the world. Is that interaction fun? Because inherently in these games, you're going to be moving through the world a lot as you're
right.
You find something, you're like, ooh, I remember where I needed a double jump. I need to go back there. Now, where was that? And I wanted to say the big distinction I had with this game over other games of the genre, because there's a lot of Metroidvania type games out there now.
Now, right.
Most of which not developed by Konami or Nintendo. But this one is huge in comparison, in that, like, it takes 40-50 hours to beat the game. Like, it's a very long game.
Wow.
Versus Super Metroid, which I think is among the best games ever made. You can pretty comfortably beat that game in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very, very long. The map is huge. Like, you don't understand how big it is until you just kind of dive in and you keep discovering these new areas. And it's just it's definitely an experience. Sergio, have you touched this at all?
Yes, and from the little bit that I played, it felt exactly like you describe it, and it also felt difficult in many ways. As in, like you said, it's a big world. You don't have a map. It's you have to really keep track of where you are. Some areas look similar, sort of to trick you into getting lost, really. And not only that, but the combat is also challenging. There's a couple of recent Metroidvania games that are difficult to explore, but they might be easier on the combat side of things, or vice versa. But to me, Hollow Knight felt like it's challenging in all aspects, in a good way. It's not challenging to the point of frustration.
Yeah, it's not like Dark Souls or Demon Souls difficulty.
Right.
It gets you mad just enough so that you're encouraged to fight harder, but also just be more cognizant of how you fight the bosses. Because the first boss I fought, man, like I felt really satisfied when I when I beat it. I was like, okay,
Right.
okay, this is quite. It's fair. It's a fair challenge, and from the time I played it, I think the way they spike up the difficulty is very very reasonable. So
Yeah, I'll say for maybe the average gamer, it feels a little bit difficult to me.
right,
Like, and that's probably what they're going for. It actually fits the mood of the game really well.
Yes.
mm-hmm.
Because they do things like the sound design is incredible, like really really well done. You hear your
Right.
footsteps where there is music. The music is great. Um, where you hear characters humming to themselves or whatever, and that signals that
Yes.
you're near a character. All of that is really well done. The best effect in with regards to that is when you get hit by something, the music fades out, like it blanks out completely, and you get this with the visual effect, which is this gigantic. It really gives a weight to getting damaged,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
more so than I think I've felt in maybe any video
Yeah.
game. Like it's very very dramatic, to get hit. So it's a little bit stressful to play. Also, the one problem I have with some of the difficulty is from time to time, again, you're lost a lot in this game.
Right.
By design. That's actually not a bad
Yes.
thing. I'm not listing it as a critique. But you're lost a lot, and the game does like these set save points. So anytime you find a bench, it saves the game. But if you die at any point that you are not near one of the benches you were, what happens is it leaves kind of your dark shadow of your character, and it takes all your money away, and you have to travel back to where you were, defeat your dark shadow, which is really easy, but you have to get all the way back there to get all your money back, or there's an NPC in town that'll help you out with that too. But what I felt was a lot of times when I died, it was just this, oh, I can't believe that I just spent so long. And I gotta say, that's not a feeling that I love when I'm playing a game. Like, one of the things I really like about a game like Celeste or another really, really hard game is you die, it starts you back at the start of the room. You really haven't lost anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of just, you can kind of brute force it and get back to where you were pretty quickly and over if you keep dying at the same spot. Whereas Hollow Knight, if you die somewhere that's pretty hard and then you go back there and get your shadow and then die again at that spot and then go back there and get your shadow, like, obviously I'm improving at the game, but it's also a little frustrating. I will say that does feel like a design choice to me because, again, this is a game where damage actually feels very critical. Like it definitely feels like you're taking damage when you get hit and such. So I don't think it's outside of the game's design. I don't think it's an oversight. I think it's very much what they wanted to make, and it makes an impact.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're talking about when you get hit, like it's like the music fades out. Like I think that's really important that you talked about that because, like in games like Castlevania, where you get hit, you get knocked back, or in Super Mario, I think of Super Mario 64, where it's just your character blinks, and in Hollow Knight, it's more realistic because when you get hit, you're supposed to feel like uh, that your head is like winded and you feel like, oh my goodness, I gotta recalibrate myself back into motion, and I think it's a pretty good effect. And yeah, it's that was something that's a pretty important thing to talk about for Hollow Knight for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and another thing that stood out to me right away, and I think it happens very often for this genre nowadays, how flowy the controls are, how tight and how good they are. They're so responsive, and you can attack towards the front, upwards, downwards. You can jump, double
Right.
jump, wall jump. There's so many ways to move around, and you need to in order to survive and to be able to control everything as perfectly as you want to. Like I said, many Metroidvania type games, they excel at this. I feel like it's almost a requirement for the genre.
I think it has to be, right? And I
Yeah.
kind of said that because
Mhm.
it more than most genres is one that focuses on movement and combat. So if the movement and combat sucks, the game is not
Yeah.
going to be fun to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I will say they nailed it, right? It feels really
mhm.
really good. When you get hit, you generally know why you got hit. It's almost always your fault, right? It doesn't feel cheap except for,
No.
Almost.
a very few circumstances in the game, like negligible. It feels very fair. A little on the hard side, definitely. So everything I've been saying is really positive, right? So I like the level design, I love the music design, the art design, how the game plays, how it controls, the lore, world building,
Mhm.
everything's really cool. So for that said, $15 on this game feels like a steal to me. Like, I would definitely recommend
Mhm.
it at that price to people who like the genre. I want to give one little bit of warning, and it I don't want this to overshadow what I just said, but it's important to me. I didn't actually enjoy playing it that much. And
Huh.
I feel like I'm in the minority here, and I'm willing to accept that because, like I said, it's a fantastic game, and I'm not at all taking that away from it. But as I'm playing it, also, like I said, it's really stressful. The world is heavy and gothic, and the story and lore is kind of dark, and the world is huge, and you don't know where you're going. And all of
Hmm.
these things are kind of compiling this stress in my mind as I'm playing it. And I would put the game down and realize, man, I feel worse than when I started.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
not,
a,
it's not why I play games. It's not why I watch
Right.
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 shows.
Yeah.
When a show gets too dark, I typically turn it off. you know,
Mhm.
I like fun things, but and I mean this game is also noteworthy for having probably the most uncomfortable single area in a video game I've ever been in. Like, um,
Ooh.
for those of you who make it to Deep Nest, enjoy that. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, just enjoy it. So like I said, I don't want to take anything away from the game because I think what the developers have done is exactly what they wanted to do. I think it's definitely a highlight in the genre. It's definitely one of the best games in the genre,
Mhm.
period, ever. I think it's very, very well done. But all of the things kind of combining, it makes it feel like a very heavy game to me, and I didn't shy from that. I ended up beating it. There's a few endings. I did get the best ending. I did not 100% this game. I don't intend to, just because I kind of wanted to get
Hmm.
done with the world and just kind of move on, if that makes any sense.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the way you're talking about it, the fact that you were, emotionally invested, and then it just made you feel differently about, like just what you were seeing and how you were playing it, and I mean, that's those are signs of a good game. Whether you enjoyed it or not, like that is a testament to how fundamentally sound the game was made by Team Cherry. So, with that being said, where does this game rank for you in, like, is it in your top 5 Switch games? Is it in your top 10 overall? Like, where does this fall on the spectrum?
It's not a top 5 game for me, although you could probably make that statement pretty easily. But
Right.
just if I'm ranking games, my personal enjoyment's going to go into that. So
Exactly.
I'm
Right.
always going to put a game like Celeste or Splatoon or um, Breath of the Wild. That kind of thing is always going to fall above it. I would have to consider for like a top 10. Do I think it's worth it? Like, do I think it makes the list in terms of just how good the game actually is? Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Just in kind of a personal preference way is kind of where it gets stuck.
Hmm. Just for some perspective, maybe have you played other Metroidvanias recently, especially something like Axiom Verge, which is also on the Switch?
Yeah, I played Axiom Verge on the Wii U actually, and
Mhm.
I thought it was so. To preface this, Hollow Knight is a better game than Axiom Verge in my opinion. Like,
Mhm.
period, hard
Mhm.
stop. Um,
Whoa.
Axiom Verge is very good at what it does. What it does is Metroid 1.5, right? It's
Hmm.
really, really trying to be Metroid almost exactly with a ton of guns and such. Uh, where it's interesting, where Axiom Verge failed for me is actually where Hollow Knight was really good, in that I didn't feel like the world design in Axiom Verge was all that cohesive, like to the point that they actually put in a, for lack of a better word, a tram station between the areas instead of, in like a Metroid game. One of the cool things about Metroid games is you're progressing through, say, Brinstar or something, and all of a sudden you find yourself in Norfair, and oh wow, I found this shortcut, and all this world is connected in these different ways, and it makes sense on the map, and I can see how all this is going. Axiom Verge did not have that for me, and it kind of broke the whole game for me. I did like playing it. It was a very fun game to play. So I like the genre. I wouldn't say I'm the hugest fan of the genre, but I do like it. One of the recent standouts was actually Guacamelee, which I really liked.
Yes, I like that game too. It's really fun.
I thought Guacamelee hit very, very good levels in pretty much every area, and I would love to play Guacamelee too. So, yeah, that's Hollow Knight for me. I'm sorry for kind of ending that discussion on a bit of a downer. I really don't want to, because I do think it's a fantastic game. It's definitely worth a look. Definitely, take it into consideration. And if you like the genre, if you like the style of the game, definitely play it. It's getting amazing reviews for a reason, and I'm not going against that at all. The game is really, really good. Yeah,
no worries. It's all good. I mean, I think it's really awesome that you talked about Hollow Knight in this way, because it is a must play, and for the price you pay and for what you get, for 50 hours, that's incredible.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, how many other games that are $15 can you get that much fun out of? Not a lot. Well, maybe Overcooked, but that's more than $20. But anyway, I digress. It's in terms of the RPG style, just and what you get. I mean, it's really fun. So, yeah, good stuff.
All right, with that, Sergio, what else do you got?
I have another little quick accessory recommendation. It's not a specific brand, but it's an accessory that allows you to plug in a controller from another system to play on your Switch. The reason for this actually is there's a rhythm game called Super Beat Sonic that came out on the Switch last year. And that game was actually from other systems, including, first of all, the Vita, and then the PS4 and the PS3 also.
Yep.
That game is very reliant on the joysticks being symmetrical. And as I'm sure you know, on the Joy-Cons and on the Pro Controller, they are not. The left joystick, it's on the upper position instead of the right one. So it kind of gets to you if you have been playing Super Beat Sonic or other games that rely on basically twin stick shooters, that if you're used to the joysticks being symmetrical, it's going to throw you off. So I looked into it, and there is a couple of good options for adapters that allow you to plug in PS3 controller, PS4, Xbox One, even GameCube controllers, as we know, but for the most part, they work really well. The only things that do not carry over are the rumble feature and the motion controls. But other than that, you can use those controllers and all the buttons work. The joysticks work perfectly. And so it's a really cool thing. And they work on dock mode and also on handheld mode via the USB-C port on the bottom of the Switch. Yeah, so
it's really nice, yeah.
It's an option to have, if you need your sticks to be symmetrical, or also maybe for a fighting game that you're more comfortable using something like the Xbox controller or something. That's an option. I would just recommend to look on Amazon or other websites for reviews. Make sure that if you're interested in getting this accessory, make sure that when you're looking at it works, because there's some that don't work, and especially because the Switch had a couple of firmware updates, and I know they specifically block some accessories and some controllers that shouldn't really be working. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you read up on a couple of reviews and make sure it works before you get it.
So how much did you pay for your accessory? And yeah, how much did you pay for it?
The one I got was about $15, and it comes with two adapters, one that works on dock mode and one that is for handheld.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
It seems like it'd be nice for fighting games too, because you can always add a fight stick or something that there is one for Switch, but there's a ton of options out there that you might like a certain one.
Right.
Oh, Fun fact. I still have my Street Fighter fight stick at home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was for the PS3 though. It was cool because at the time with my college housemates, we were into Street Fighter, and we decided it was cool to get like like a I forgot the name. It was a Mad Catz, like this Street Fighter fight
Cool.
stick, and but the thing is that the joystick and the buttons they were somewhat generic, so we wanted to get this. I think it's called the Sanwa Danshi. I'm sure I'm messing it up, but it's like the same parts that are used in the arcade cabinets for Street Fighter.
Oh,
So it's the Sanwa Danshi. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, then I apologize. Those are the original parts, and you can custom order them, in whatever color you want. I got the vermilion, red and orange. Shout out to that color because it's my second favorite color.
Red and orange,
Before-
if you're listening. Here's to
red,
you.
Red, orange. Here's to you. Not red, not orange. Red, orange, vermilion. Second to green. Anyway, so you get the parts, and then at your caution, somewhat disassemble the Street Fighter 5 stick, and then you put the parts together, and then it works so nice. So if I were to have that and the accessory that you're talking about, Sergio, I think
Right.
it's really awesome for
Oh,
fighting
nice.
games. So, yeah. I just thought about it. So anyway,
No, that sounds awesome, and Sergio, you mentioned some really good use cases for that too. I wouldn't have even really thought about the symmetric joysticks,
right,
but it
right.
makes perfect sense for that kind of game that you are dealing with the rotational positions of two paddles, and
Right,
having your thumbs at different positions might it could make it hard. I could see that.
right, right.
No, that's cool. So I think that's gonna jump back to me, and unfortunately I'm lame. I don't use any accessories with my Switch. It's still vanilla.
Boo.
I don't even
I'm
have
kidding.
a screen protector on it. I don't use anything.
Oh, wow.
No worries, man.
Well, actually, the story behind that is I put one of the Amcase glass screen protectors on my first Switch, and it actually peeled the screen out somehow. And
What?
I had to send it in
Whoa.
for repairs and stuff. I'm the only person I know who had that issue, so don't use me as your use case. But yeah, it kind of shied me away from a lot of stuff.
No, I personally, for me, I used to have a screen protector, but mine's a bit more. Well, it's a little different because I'm pretty OCD when it comes to having little things like this perfect. So, like when I put on the screen protector, like I noticed a little bubble. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta fix it. And then some dust came in. I'm like, oh shoot,
Oh, no.
holy shoot! I was like, okay, I gotta fix it. Took out the dust, tried to take out the dust, and then there were two more bubbles. Like, okay. And then I tried to, get the bubbles out. Then there was more dust. I'm like, oh my god! And I just said, forget it. I'm taking it out. I'm throwing it in the trash.
You cut to like an hour later, and you're like
Oh, my-
sweating, and there's bubbles everywhere. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. I felt so bad because one of my closest friends, not Tony, but one of my closest friends, sorry, Steven. I'm sorry, Steven. Oh man, I just. He gave it to me for free too, and I feel I appreciate it, but it's just when I try to put it on, I could not get it perfect, and I was actually frustrated. And I just took it off, and I just never did one again. And
So that screen protector was your personal Hollow Knight story. There we go. Okay.
yeah, that is. So if you're hearing this, Steven, I'm really sorry. Don't be mad at me. It's my fault. So
Yeah.
but he has one on his Switch. At the time, and for his it was perfect. So I'm like, dang it, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna jump back to another game that I've actually been playing recently, and I'm cheating a little bit because it's not a game; it's actually 8 games. It is the Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2, which just came out on Nintendo Switch on July 24th, actually. And what it is, it's basically just a collection of all of the Mega Man X games to this point, which, depending on how much experience you have with that series, the Mega Man X games are some of the best action platformer games ever made, in my opinion. So I'm gonna start the review by saying no, it's great. I really really like the series, and the reason I really like the series is I grew up with the NES, like I've mentioned, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
played a lot of the original Mega Man series on it. And then when I actually ended up getting the Super Nintendo, we got Mega Man X, the first one, pretty shortly after that. And playing that just, man, it blew all of my expectations of what a Mega Man game was out of the
Hmm.
water. Like, I love the classic Mega Man series, but in my opinion, it doesn't. X is almost better in practically every way. The only real argument I would have there is maybe the music, but even the music of X is really good too. So it's it's very hard to say because what they basically did, they took the same type run and shoot format. You beat bosses, you get their weapons, and then you can use their weapons against other bosses and this weird rock paper scissors. But they added these huge levels. They added wall climbing and dashing and dash jumps and momentum based jumping and stages that change based on what you do on other stages and permanent upgrades, and just like they took that series as far as what the original series could even dream of, and I've always appreciated it by that. If you have not played the original Mega Man X game, I would definitely recommend it. It's probably the best entry point into the series because they were showing a lot to these players who had played Mega Man games before. So it's like the intro level of Mega Man X. There's a YouTube video on this about how brilliant the intro level of Mega Man X is, and it really is. Because if you go into that game not even knowing how to hold the Super Nintendo controller, there's so many smart little design choices that show you everything that you need to know to play that game in this 5-minute level. It's
Right.
masterclass of level design. It's amazing.
I want to ask, are you referring to Eagle Raptor? Is that the guy you were talking about who showcases how good Mega Man X is? Because I might watch the same video, and he did a really good job.
I believe so. It's the sequelitis video of Mega Man
Yes,
X. Yeah.
yes, it is. Oh, my
excellent
God.
video to watch. I definitely recommend that one.
I give you a virtual fist bump for that. That's awesome.
Right, 9 cars, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm glad you said that you recommend it because, to be honest, I've played the classic Mega Man games, but I did not play the X games. So I think for me it would be a good opportunity. It's guilty as charged, but I think it'd be a good opportunity for me to play them, and even hearing from Eagle Raptor himself, and obviously you, I think it'll be good. And yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna speak directly to you for the rest of this review. That's helpful. So you are the fabled player of only classic Mega Man games. So there we go. Okay, so I kind of explained what Mega Man X is as a series, right? And all of the games are fairly similar and just kind of upgrades on each other. Like each one has something that the other ones did not as you go through. But they're all kind of the same format. You get upgrades in each. You always have wall jumping and air dashing and things like that.
Right.
Mega Man X1 through X4, I think, are possibly the greatest action platformer series ever. Mega Man X4 in particular is probably my favorite action platformer that I've ever played. And that is not in any way due to the story or the voice acting, which are both really, really bad. It's all due to the gameplay, which is just really fun. Particularly, that's the first game that you can pick Zero, who's kind of the X's sidekick character, who's a melee character in a run and shoot game, which is really fun. You can play as him through the whole game. You pick him at the beginning and you play through all the bosses, and he gets different upgrades. Like, he doesn't get the boss's weapons. They all give him like sword techniques,
right,
which are like flame based or ice based or whatever. If every character of every video game could control like Zero does in X4, I would be happy. It's fantastic. Sergio, have you ever played this series?
Only X1 or the first X, and I definitely agree with you that it was a really big, like, this is next gen type of moment, going from the Mega Man's on the NES to playing Mega Man X. It was amazing.
is there any holy shoots in this game?
The whole game is a holy shoot. I mean, it's great.
I had to mention that. I just had to mention that. Yeah.
So let me get into a little more negative because we can't be all positive on anything in the show. Except for Kevin, who's all positive on everything. So
well, that's okay. Some yeah, most times.
So when you go to Best Buy or Amazon or whatever and you purchase this game as a retail, it comes with a single cartridge. On that cartridge are Mega Man X1 through X4. In the package is a slip to download Mega Man X5 through X8. So they kind of did the same thing that they did with Mega Man Legacy Collection, which some people really don't like. I get it. I don't really care. I was okay because I had played X5 and X6. I'd never played X7 or 8. So to me, it was worth it just to play those games.
Right.
Even though they're not extremely highly regarded. I think X8 is regarded as okay. But you know, I personally wanted it. But you know, it is kind of a little bit of a cop out that we can't get the physical versions of the X Collection number 2, and
Right.
that'll turn some people away. But I'm going to make it extremely easy. So the entire X Collection 1+2 is $40, which honestly is not bad for 8 games. That's really nice.
Pretty good.
What's even better is that the X Collection 1, which contains Mega Man X1 through 4, is $20 on the eShop. Or I'm assuming you'll be able to pick that up used pretty shortly, you know, without the download code for about that. What I would recommend very strongly is to pick up X Collection 1, which contains X1 through X4, which are some of the best games ever created, and skip out on X Collection number 2, unfortunately. And the reason I say that is the main series creators kind of moved on after X4, and you can feel it. And I can. It's weird because I remember really liking X5, and playing it this time, it's just like, oh, I don't want to do this again. Like it's very starkly different in terms of level design, boss design. Like the bosses are too easy, the levels are frustrating and don't seem designed well. The end of that game is fantastic, but getting there is not the best. X6, a lot of people hate that game. I actually think it's better than X5. 7 was kind of an experiment in the 3D realm, which I'm kind of enjoying. I'm currently playing through X7. I have not played X8 yet, unfortunately. But even if X8 were good, I don't know that it's worth the extra $20 for this collection when you have the first collection. And again, all these games are pretty similar. So, yeah, definitely at this point, I would 100% thumbs up recommend X Collection 1 for $20. I think that is an absolute steal. You are getting all of the really good games of the X series, which I think are very, very good, and kind of testaments to modern platforming. I think modern platformers, action platformers, really owe a lot to this series, and man, it's been a ball to play it again.
It seems like the Mega Man X games have aged pretty well. Well, X1 to X4, so that's definitely I'm definitely gonna pick it up. I mean, I owe it to myself to play these really good games. So you got me. I will get it.
There you go. The one thing I'll say is there were some people talking about how the games look, mostly because these games were, specifically X1 and X3, were never really made for HD televisions or anything like that. So it looks like a pixel game on an HD television, and there's a few graphic styles that you can put on there. You can use scan lines if you want to for some reason. Or there's like this rounded pixels option, which I think looks pretty good. It doesn't look...
Ooh, interesting.
Some people don't like it. I think it looks pretty good, to be honest. And
okay,
you can also go by the original 4:3 resolution, or you can fit the screen. You can stretch it to fit the screen, which, as long as you don't make that change while you're playing, I think both of those look good too.
Right.
The sound is really good. The other issue that people have noted is that the Super Nintendo games, so X1 through X3, do suffer from some slowdown from time to time.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, and from what I've seen other people say, there's some conflicting opinions on this, but from what I can tell, it's slowdown that actually existed in the Super Nintendo version of these games. Like,
Yes,
it's
I
actually
remember that,
an
yeah.
accurate emulation, right? So it's not
Right.
Right.
it's not anything that is wrong with the Switch or wrong with this collection or anything like that. That's just how they played. So when you're releasing a collection of games, you don't really want to make the games different than how they felt, even if it
Right.
did have some design constraints originally. So yeah, that's my stance on Mega Man X collection. It's kind of a weird thing to have two games bundled in a collection and really recommend the first one, but that's what it is. All right, well, there we go. That is episode 8 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We do really appreciate you listening, and we do ask that if you do like the show, please leave us a like and subscribe at your favorite podcast app. Pop in on Twitter. We are at NintendoJump to tell us things that you'd like and don't like about the show, or give us some ideas for future game topics. Definitely, we would appreciate some music suggestions. So if you just send us links to your favorite game music on YouTube or whatever, there's a fair chance that'll show up on a future episode. So we really appreciate that. If you want to email us, we are NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. We are also making a Facebook group, which is new this episode. So look for us at Nintendo Jump on Facebook. So excited about that. And there's that's the main ways to connect with us. I think we're also on Instagram at Nintendo Jump.
Yep.
So we're getting out there. But definitely we love to hear from you guys. So please let us know what you think. If there's anything we can do better, if there's anything that you like that we're doing that you want to hear more of, definitely let us know and give us some music suggestions. So with that, for Kevin and Sergio, this is Daryl, and we're going to jump on out of here. So
Wait! I got one thing.
Oh no!
Oh no! Just want to say this one thing. If you guys have a chance, when you feel like it, please let me know what you like. What is your favorite thing that is 5 feet away from you? I'm always curious because for me, I have a few things, but
Really?
Anyway, I just want to. Yeah.
Okay.
It has to be mentioned. Because I usually say it in almost every episode. So, what is your favorite thing that is 5 feet away from you? Whether you're sitting down at home, whether you're at work, whether you're at a park, or preferably at home. So, what is your favorite thing that you like to have 5 feet away from you? It could be a game. It could be a stuffed animal. It could be a favorite controller. It could be a whiskey glass. I don't know. Just.
Please abide to the honor system. It has to be 5 feet, maybe a couple inches more or less, but
Break out the tape measures. Let's be accurate about this.
It's gotta be 5 feet. And with that being said, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I'm diving full in on that topic. If anyone writes us in something that is 5 feet away from them that we can mention on this show, it will be mentioned on this show. You have my word. So,
well, there you go.
There you go. It is a future topic. Thank you, Kevin.
No worries. And with that being said, for sure, this is Kevin. Have a great day, have a great week, and take care.
And just remember, Nintendo Jump is always 5 feet away.
Right. Oh, and Sergio too. We have Sergio too.
yes. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.